there are actually two distinct operations in which we are engaged. One is the anti-piracy operation, which is the northern part of Somalia and the eastern part of Somalia. So that is purely anti-piracy operation. The other one is also linked to the northern part of Somalia in the sense from Bab el-Mandab, the Red Sea region. We have good, information exchange and cooperation with our international partners. We are the largest resident naval power in the Indian Ocean region. We will take whatever step that is necessary to ensure that there is safety and security in these waters. We are not going to let anybody, do piracy operations in this place. We are now going to have a constant presence in that area, and it is quite far. It is about more than 1,500-1,600 kilometers from our coast. But then we have decided that we will take robust action to ensure that our ships don't get attacked and our crew don't get attacked. As a Navy, as a Bharatiya Nausena, we have been given a very clear task of protect, preserve, promote and pursue our national interests and maritime. So wherever this interests lie, we will do our job to ensure that our national interests are protected. So we are very clear about what we are required to do.
Indian Navy, I'm proud of. Bharat Mata ke! Bharat Mata ke!
In a daring mission, Marine Commandos of Indian Navy launched an operation to save 21 crew members on board a Liberia-flagged vessel that was hijacked in the Arabian Sea. The mission was a successful one, and it has proven once again that Indian Navy is not just the first responder in the Indian Ocean region, but is also playing a crucial role in safeguarding the global trade. Well, I'm joined by Chief of Indian Naval Staff, Admiral R. Kumar, and we'll try to ask questions on this specific incident and also on the activities and the incidents that we are witnessing in the international waters. So thank you so much for your time. My first and foremost question will be related to the incident that everyone is talking about. Marcos embarked on a vessel that was hijacked. They did not know the position of those pirates, those hijackers, and still they embarked, and this mission was a successful one. If you can talk to us about the particular operation, under what circumstances the call was taken and how challenging it was.
So this is a very peculiar situation that you face at sea when a vessel gets pirated and hijacked, and thereafter you have to now try and rescue the people. So we got this distress call at around 1700 hours, and at sea I would say that one of the most biggest challenge that you face is called the terrain of distance. That means you are so far away from that point and it takes you a finite amount of time to reach there. So first action was to divert one of our ships, which was already deployed there on mission deployment, to head for this vessel at full speed. So which we did for INS Chennai, and she was about 450 miles plus away, and we had diverted her to proceed at full speed towards us. Now, the other thing that we did simultaneously was to launch a P-8I aircraft, so that that aircraft was on task, locate this Lila Norfolk, and then talk to the crew and assess what is the situation and give us the live feedback. So, which in about 2 hours' time, this aircraft reached the spot and established communication with the crew. The crew replied that out of the 21 crew members, 20 were inside the citadel or the safe house, and one guy was missing, which they were saying that hopefully he is hiding somewhere in the ship. And therefore now there was always a suspicion of of what is happening to that one crew separately. And also they informed us that around 1700 they heard shots and they saw 2 or 3 boats approaching them, and they all ran to the citadel and closed themselves. So they were not too sure whether the pilots are on board, how long they can hold on, because ये जो citadel है, it has got a specific task. It cannot forever remain unbreached. So if they use some particular type of equipment or etc., maybe after some 7-8 hours of effort, they may be able to breach it. So within the safe house, they are able to do certain things like communicate outside through a sat phone, and also they have control of the steering of the ship. So they were immediately told, you alter course by about 20 degrees in such a way that you can head for INS Chennai, so that you can both close, at the fastest speed, and reduce the time for meeting up with each other. So this happened, and in the meantime, we had decided that whenever this aircraft was about to go off task, the next PATI will relieve that aircraft on task there only, so that continuously we have eyes on the ship as well as the surroundings. And thereafter, we'll have a Sea Guardian, Predator drone also on top, so that it's got a lot of endurance. You can remain for more than 24, 30 hours in that area. So we decided to send a Sea Guardian after that. And in the meantime, Chennai was told to prepare for opposed boarding. Opposed boarding is that when we don't know whether there is a opponent on board, but we knew that there's information of up to 5 to 6 pirates probably go around on board. So this is called opposed boarding. So there are certain SOPs for that, and once they effected RV at between 1400 and 1430 hours, so that was the time when Chennai launched the helicopter to provide air support, close air support from to keep the pirates on board, battened down inside. And then we did the boarding by the Marcos. The Marcos are embarked on almost all the forward deployed ships. They are highly trained. They are capable of boarding and intervention, hostage rescue, all that. So the Marcos were launched. They boarded the ship, and fortunately there was no opposition which was experienced. The helicopter was continuously, trying to keep anybody who was trying to look out, subdued. So it helped the Marcos to board, unopposed manner. And then the other threat, of course, was whether they laid any mines or booby traps or IEDs or things like that. So they had to now sanitize the entire ship. So they started from top to bottom, from the topmost deck downwards. They came down to the bridge, each compartment by compartment, and they did the initial screening. Thereafter, they went to the safe house and we established communication and got the crew out. And then they searched and located the 21st crew member also. So all the crew were identified as safe, and at least in the initial scan, it appeared that the pirates were not there. So in the interaction with the crew, it appeared that quite likely that after boarding, they realized that they are not able to either breach the citadel, or that now there are aircraft in the air, and the ship is likely to come in a quick time, and before they are able to command the ship. And possibly that has prompted them to either disembark at night or early hours of the morning and use those boats and get away. So the PATI and the Sea Guardian which are there have also identified about 6 odd boats, 4 to 6 boats which are there of different types, boats and dhows, anything between 25 to about 45 to 60 miles from the ship. So we suspect that probably some of them may have these pirates on board. So after the first sanitization, then we took the crew along and sanitized the entire ship. And once you're confident that there is no mines or booby traps or IEDs on board, so we have cleared the ship for proceeding for its next port of call, which is Bahrain. And what we now are doing is we are going to board every single boat which is there. We're going to inspect them. We have to see, because normally what they do when they realize that they're going to be boarded, they throw all these weapons, etc., into the water. So our aim is to try and see whether they got any high-speed boats with them, high-speed OBMs or any piracy triggers like these, and then we'll take very strict action against them. So we are now going to have a constant presence in that area. And it is quite far. It is about more than 1,500, 1,600 kilometers from our coast. But then we have decided that we'll take robust action to ensure that our ships don't get attacked and our crew don't get attacked.
So another thing that I wanted to ask you on this particular incident, what was the total time of this operation? From embarking to finally communicating that all is safe and we have rescued the crew members. Also the kind of communication that you were receiving here in Delhi.
So we were monitoring it, through the picture which was being given by the Sea Guardian, which was in the air, the Predator drone which is there. So it could give live coverage of the entire operation which is happening through the cameras. And so that was being relayed. However, we as a headquarters have taken a conscious decision that we do not interfere with our mission that is happening, because the mission commander who is there on ground, he is the best person to judge what is to be done. So we don't believe in a 2,000-mile long screwdriver to start giving instructions from here. But we were just monitoring it, and we are just giving some guidance or some advice as required. So largely the operation, I would say, once contact was established somewhere around 14:30, and I think we could wind up the whole thing by about 2.5 hours time, because one of the limiting factors was sunset. We wanted to sanitize the complete ship and establish that everything is safe before it gets dark. Right. So one of the critical factors was the decision to board the ship, because there are few things are required in this. The operator of the ship, which is that Lila Global, they had to give a consent that they can be boarded, because it involves collateral damage, possibility of collateral damage, just in case there is opposition or some firing, etc. Then somebody may get hurt. So therefore consent was required, which they gave in quick time. And then as per the SOPs, we have to have approvals at various levels. So one is the Deputy Chief of Naval Staff, he calls a meeting of the executing authority. They consist of members from various ministries and concerned departments. So they all came immediately, and we took a decision that we need to board. Then the final approval for this actually comes from a committee called the Committee of Secretaries on Anti-Piracy Operations, headed by the Cabinet Secretary. So which again, we spoke, and it was agreed to in no time. So decision making was very swift, because it was a time critical activity, and we immediately got the decision, and therefore we had decided to go ahead and board at by 2:30 itself. And I would say the national leadership has really enabled anti-piracy operations by the passing of the Anti-Piracy Act last year. So with that, now the maritime agencies, especially the Navy, has been enabled to board and search, visit and seize any vessel which has got any piracy triggers or which is suspected. So we are using that to our advantage to see that we try and curb this menace.
Right. Sir, I was going through the weekly report of IFC-IOR. It is saying that a total 64 incidents have happened in the international waters in last week. Also, we have some sort of activities that are going on in Red Sea, though we are not a party in that particular thing. But we have our deployment in the Gulf of Aden and also in the Arabian Sea. Having said that, sir, we have seen a number of incidents in the Arabian Sea itself. Camp Pluto episode, then also the Sai Baba episode. Is there any sort of indication that these people are also targeting Indian flagged or Indian linked vessels? In case it is happening, then what is our call to that particular thing? Also, what we have noticed in this particular situation.
See, there are actually two distinct operations in which we are engaged. One is the anti-piracy operation, which is the northern part of Somalia and the eastern part of Somalia. So that is purely anti-piracy operation. The other one is also linked to the northern part of Somalia in the sense from Bab el-Mandab, the Red Sea, the Red Sea region, where right now we have not deployed any ships because our vessels, Indian flagged vessels, are very few. We don't have more than one or at best two ships coming, in a week or so through that area. So we are monitoring that. Whenever a vessel is coming, we are escorting it and providing the necessary assistance. But what is of concern to us is the drone attacks and therefore the drone attacks which are happening largely in that area is all on either Israeli-owned or Israeli-linked merchant vessels. This sort of attack on Israeli-linked vessels and vice versa has been happening for quite some time, I would say, but the frequency has been not that high. I would say maybe in about 6 months, maybe 3 or 4 incidents, so it roughly translates into one incident in 1 month or 2 months, something like that, which we have observed it and we have been, cautioning people about it. But what has happened over the last about 40-45 days is that in about 40 days we saw almost 34 incidents. That is between 19th of November and say 25th of December or so, there were close to 34 incidents of drone attacks. So, including the attack on Smee and then attack on Camp Pluto, which is there in the Central Arabian Sea, which is about 250 odd miles from our coast, and it's now a cause of concern for us. So, therefore, although it is not an Indian flagged vessel, the initial one didn't have any Indian crew also. So, we have now deployed ships there. We are taking anti-drone measures. We have decided that we will provide anti-drone protection, and have a presence there. So, anti-drone measures, you can talk of either, we have both hard kill measures as well as soft kill measures in terms of jammers and things like that. We are equipping our ships to ensure that we are able to provide robust support to our merchant ships.
So my last question, we had a joint statement by 13 different nations regarding what is happening in the Red Sea. Having said that, the activities in the international waters are affecting the global trade. While we talk about Indian Navy, so Indian Navy is the first responder in the Indian Ocean region, and also we are safeguarding the global trade. Any sort of, meeting or the kind of activity that you are going to engage with your international partners, given that, we have IFC IOR, where we have, representatives from different countries. Steps and also the kind of involvement that Indian Navy is going to have with our international partners in order to safeguard the global trade, and also the kind of activities to stop and contain the kind of activities that we are witnessing in the international waters.
See, we have, our directives are very clear. As a Navy, as a Bharatiya Nausena, we have been given a very clear task of protect, preserve, promote and pursue our national interests in maritime domain. So wherever this interests lie, we will do our job to ensure that our national interests are protected. So we are very clear about what we are required to do. Now, whether we want to going to work along with our international partners, we have good information exchange and cooperation with our international partners, because we all believe in a free, open, inclusive Indo-Pacific, which is rules based and so on. But having said that, we are not getting into any alliances with anybody to because there was a talk of whether we could go into the Red Sea to link up with some of the other ships and do protection, etc. But we are not part of that. We have decided that we are the largest resident naval power in the Indian Ocean region. We will take whatever step that is necessary to ensure that there is safety and security in these waters. We are not going to let anybody, do piracy operations in this place, and we are trying to see that the anti-drone measures, if required, are put in place so that our interests do not get compromised.
All right. So, Chief of Indian Naval Staff, Admiral R. Hari Kumar, putting his thoughts forward on the kind of incidents that we are witnessing in the international waters. With Cameraman Pradeep Kumar Das, this is Akash Sharma for CNN News 18.